Good evening, my dear friends. How are you? Live stream a little bit earlier this month. I'm in the studio next week, so thank you all for joining me on this Saturday evening. It's the 21st. Can you believe that? The 21st live stream. It's gone really fast, you know. Want to thank you for sticking with us. I've now got 74,000 subscribers, which is pretty cool, you know, for an old dude like me. Somebody said now I'm in the top 1.5% in the world, which is good. Because I didn't realise this, because my son, he has 300,000, so I've always measured myself against him, which apparently was a mistake. So anyway, I'd like to thank all the new subscribers that have come to the have joined me this month. Thank you for that. Another couple of thousand. That's great. So as I say, 21st live stream that we've done since we began. I think it was about a year ago now. I think. No, it can't be right, can it? It's got to be 21 months. Come on, Rob, you fool. It's late. It's late here. It's 9 o'clock. Anyway, for those people new to these things, these live streams are all about you. This is your opportunity. To those people who've watched me teaching various bits and pieces, I've got over 400 videos on now, from classical music to rock to country. You know, what I like to do is I like to spread it around a bit, as you now know. And it's your opportunity. If anything you're not sure of, anything that you've watched that you don't understand, well, this is your chance now to ask me about it. And if I can explain what it is you don't understand, or I can demonstrate something again while we're online live, then I'll do it. Okay. Now, clearly, those people that do that donate something, their questions, it's called super chat. Super chat. I don't know much about all this technical stuff, but if you click the super chat thing, as Craig has done, Craig G, thank you Craig, and put a donation to the tea and coffee fund or whatever, then your question pops up like a shaft of gold while all around is dark. All right, and I see it first, and then of course I'll answer that one. I'll answer that one first. Some of the others get lost in the thing, but here we go. I think everything's working. I think we've checked everything's working. Right. First of all, I want to thank all my Patreon members who help keep all the free stuff going. So thank you all for joining Patreon. There's links below this. What's all Patreon about? Well, it's all about my other stuff that I do, other than teach guitar. See, I use the guitar as a tool. You know, I use it to write with. So all of my career spanned over 50 years in theatre, pop music, all that sort of stuff. Obviously teaching as well. So that's what I use the guitar for. And on the on the Patreon platform, there's all the videos looking at different aspects of how I use the guitar, whether it's in you know, theatre shows, a lot of which have been very successful here in the UK. And you know, and obviously making records and following me around recording studios, all the stuff that I can't do on my teaching channel, you know, because it's not particularly to do with teaching guitar. I do it on the Patreon platform for those people who are interested in the broader aspect of everything that goes on. Right, and apart from that, all my Patreon members, they keep all this free content going because it takes a bit of time to put it together. So with their help, I'm able to spend time putting it all together, which I'll explain about in a minute. Also, all those people that just donate to the tea and coffee fund, you know, that's cool. We've got our Lynn here who's just popping her little head round.
It was just a Frank.
Frank.
Thought it was a bit soft, but
speak up a bit.
Yeah, no, everybody else said this on full volume. So
can you hear what we're doing?
It's fine there.
Yeah, okay. First of all, can everyone hear what I'm saying, or am I just trying to be cool and speak quietly? I can move it a bit closer. Do you want me to move it a bit closer? There we are. Tell me if that's okay. Speak up. Don't be shy. Can you finally play Life on Mars? I've done a tutorial for that.
No, Dave can finally play.
Okay. Oh, well done. It's good, Adam. Well done. Oh, Adam's learned how to play Life on Mars on a guitar. It's a challenge, isn't it? You know. But as I say, we like to push the boat out. All right. So thank you all for joining me on Patreon. For those people, as I say, all those people who want to ask me a question, now's the time to do it. These live streams are as long as you stay interested and you stay on with what's going on. All right. When the numbers start dwindling, I get off and have cheese on toast. That's the way it works. Okay. Now we've also what else have we been doing? Let's have a quick look. I've done that. I've done the coffee fund. I've got a little note here. The thanks button. You know where that is now. Super chat. We've talked all about that. I've got a new album coming out. Those people have already pre-ordered it. It's out in October, 24th of October. And it's like a gatefold vinyl album. You get the download free with it, by the way. So anybody that hasn't got a turntable But you still get the download free with it, so you can actually look at the, you know, like we used to do in the olden days, folks, where you can actually read the lyrics and look at all the artwork and smell the vinyl. You know, you can do that while you're still listening to it on your other systems. You know, if you don't have a turntable. So I'm looking forward to getting that. That'll be that's coming out shortly. But you can pre-order it. It's called Puncture the Moon. An interesting title. An interesting title. And there's another album, my last album, which was called Junction 39. Incidentally, that one that you've just heard, that's that's my theme music now. As I say, we like to make write different types of music. That's I like that as a theme. We sort of, my brother and I stuck that together as an idea for a TV theme, but now I'm using it. So there we are. What else have we got? Right, what have we been up to this month? Well, we started off after the last live stream. We did Fields of Gold by Sting. Did any of you get your heads around that one? Beautiful song. It was also done by Ava Cassidy. We did that one. I've got them here. Right, so that was Fields of Gold, okay? See now, you know when I say I call these idiot proof, if you asked me how to play it now, I'd say I don't know. I have to look at my notes, the stuff I do for myself, because I can't read a bloody note of music. So, you remember when the West was one on the fields of barley. Don't know the words. La da dee da da, whatever jealous song. Da dee dee, the fields of gold. That's that one. Fields of Gold. Beautiful, beautiful song. We did that. That was cool. Then we did Classical for Dummies. Now I think this is the most important one. I think this is the most important, one of the most important lessons that I've put up. Why do I call it Classical for Dummies? Hang on, let me just move this thing. I need my classical guitar to explain. It's because most people, including me, you know, they have trouble trying to, you know, they might listen to the most beautiful classical guitar pieces and say, I wish I could learn it. They'll go and buy a book of tablature, which is crap, because you can't, if you're trying to learn this stuff, it doesn't tell you. Tablature is great if you're playing like single note stuff, or it's okay if you've got if you're a seasoned player and you've got a good knowledge of what these little numbers represent, i.e. you can recognize a chord. But if you're playing something classically, then you don't have a clue, because there's no way you can understand what it means, so people shy away from it. However, what I've done is, this is a grade 5 classical piece of music. It's called Lagrima, by one of the greatest classical composers ever, Terriga, however you pronounce the gentleman's name. And what this does is this tells you exactly where to put your fingers. So not only does it tell you what strings to hit, you know, all you've got to do, for example, I'm looking at my little sheet now, and it says I put my finger there, and then underneath it says 4 and 1 in brackets, and then a 2. So I'll go 4 and 1, I'll play them together, and then I'll hit a 2, and I've got my first little bit. Then I'll do the same. Before you know where you are, you're playing something that you didn't think you could do. We can also do other things with this technique. Again, I've done, you know, like more pop classical stuff, like it's out of tune. Lynn's dancing. And when you break things like that down, I've done that one as well, have a look at that. Again, I've done it in this sort of idiot-proof way. So it's like classical guitar for dummies, as in you don't have to spend years in college learning how to read music in order to be able to get your head around playing some beautiful classical guitar pieces. And I'm the only one that does it like this. So if you like a bit of classical, then there you go. Where did I put my other one? Is that Fields of Gold on there? So I'm going to stick that on here. Right, as I'm talking, Lynn's popping up. I want to thank Joanne for a $10 donation. That is wonderful. Thank you very much. What have we got here? We've got
My fingers.
Glad to send some tea and biscuits here in New York. Good. You have helped me so much. Oh, you're welcome. Keep my fingers owning those 3 top string suggestions. You just got to keep just keep doing things. When you're practicing a picking bit, and thanks again to me and Julio down by the schoolyard. That's it. I like that one. Me and Julio down by the schoolyard. I know that much of it. In fact, I think I ripped it off. My brother and I ripped that off and wrote a song called The Mirror. Actually, I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, we did. What else have we got?
Yeah.
Sorry, just speak up, Lennon. I can't hear you.
Go back to
3 top strings, suggestions. Keep my finger owning those 3 top. You just got to keep doing this. Just do this. You know, whenever I'm trying to practice something and you know, with a pick or whatever, try and just try and isolate the right your picking hand. So if I was going to do, you know, if you try and play that without the left hand, it's hard because this hand always prompts this one. So you've got to try and sort of go. That's how you do it. And you do that with everything. So when you get to a complicated little bit, that's how you do it. So Joanne, that's how I would recommend you keep those fingers moving, and just, you know, just try and look when you're practicing. Look out the window. Look at other stuff. Don't overthink it. Overthinking can cause problems. Like if you overthink breathing, you end up doing this, and we don't want to do that, do we? When we end up hyperventilating. Andy says, "Hi Rob, you said in your video of Street to London that you would go over the twiddly bits. It would be greatly appreciated." The twiddly bits are the okay, let me get me the guitar. So Andy's asked a nice question there, and as he's donated to the old tea and coffee fund, we're going to have a little go at obliging. Thank you very much, Andy. Right, so the little twiddly bits of Streets in London. I've got to try and remember how to play the bugger. Have you seen the old girl in the club? Let me think. Well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to pull out little bits of melody as well as play the rhythm. Okay, so I'll try and do it briefly. So we've got our C. Now I'm playing my C like this, and I'm using this finger to bounce. I think that's how I did it, or I might have gone. So if you look at this way, I'm sort of, and then A minor, and you know, there's Lynn running behind. I can see. Everyone can see you, Lynn. You can't hide. And then E minor, F. Now he puts, Charles, thanks. He puts his thumb. He plays his F like. Which you can. I tend to find that a bit awkward. I never really learned how to do that. I wish I had now. So, but I'm really just pulling the melody out. I think I did this, Andy. You know, when I did the video, I think the introduction, it actually is the chorus. The majority of the chorus where it goes how can you tell me you're lonely and say for you that the sun don't shine? So you've got like a little run there. Little finger to the G7th. Say for you that the sun don't shine. Let me take you. Now this bit here is like the intro. Let me take you So if you think of the beginning of the song, that's the bit in the song where he goes, let me take you by the hand and lead you through the streets of London. I'll show you something to make you change your mind. Anyway, that's the sort of thing that you do. Now listen, for those people that really want to get into these sort of things, I can't do straight off now in 5 minutes. I teach privately. For those people that want a one-to-one lesson with me on how to do anything, whether it's Street to London or classical gas or whatever, email me on robfennah1 or fennahrob at gmail.com. fennahrob@gmail.com. All right, fennahrob@gmail.com. I'll say it again. fennahrob, as in the name of this, @gmail.com. Email me there and arrange, and we'll do a lesson like this, me and you. I do them all over the world, in America, Australia, Europe, all over Britain. Okay, so feel free, and then that way we can actually get into a lot more detail. Let's have a look at this one. How about teaching when I'm 64? Got 5 months before I reach the magic number. When I get old. It's good on a ukulele, that. Oh, da 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 dee, dee 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 da da, da dee 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 da 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 da. Would it amount till 2:45? Would you lock the door? Will you still need me? Or will you still need me? Good guess. When I'm 64. There you go. Straight off the top of the old buskin head. You did a Travis picking based on the boxer pick A minor C there. It's too hard even with the open G. No, it. Mark, come on. Mark, please. It's not too hard. I told you. Listen, this is what I've just gone back to what I said before. The basic Travis picking. Now, for those purists out there, Travis picking is usually referring to Merle Travis. Merle Travis being a great guitar player who only used his thumb and one finger. Sort of like. You sort of. Which, you can do lots of stuff with, like. Write it on out like a bird in song. You've heard me doing that loads of times. Well, that's sort of the same sort of style that Merle Travis did. One finger, and he used to pull all these melodies out, and it was great. And then when we, folk picking, which is what we're referring to now, that's really, it's not really Travis picking, but it's adopted that name. Even people like Paul Simon and everyone refers to it now as Travis picking, even though technically it isn't. So I refer to it as Travis picking as well now. It's a bit like, that phrase, R&B used to mean rhythm and blues, didn't it? Hey, R&B, remember that, rhythm and blues? Now it means some rapping gentleman swearing at you and pointing at the same time while his trousers are falling down. Okay, it doesn't mean rhythm and blues anymore. And so, Travis picking has a different name. So the way to practice your Travis picking, let's go over it quickly, shall we? Nice and simple. Don't worry about the left hand. Forget about the left hand for a minute. Let's worry about the hand that always causes the problem. We've got, it's like a ticker tape parade here, and running in, throwing me little bits of paper. Then if I forget anything, remind me. I'm getting old. My memory's going. Right, Travis picking. This is the key. These 3 fingers, 99% look after these 3 strings, okay? It's very, very important that you remember that. Okay, there's finger 3. We got, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Finger 1 looks after string 3. Finger 2 looks after string 2, and finger 3 looks after string 1. Little fingers is absolutely nothing. And you don't want to be moving your fingers around thinking you make it easy. It won't. It complicates things, all right? Thumb will look after your 3 bass strings. Bass strings being your 4th, your 5th, and your 6th. Now, forget about the first string for a minute. Just keep that finger on there, all right? Keep that finger on there. Forget about him, okay? We use that finger a little bit. We don't use it as much as the rest. So let's just concentrate on a basic Travis pick. And forgive me for repeating myself to those people who've been following me for some time, but this is for all our newbies who've joined me today, and for the person that's asked me this particular question about Travis picking. I want you to play this pattern. 4, as in string 4, then 3. and then 5, and then 2. Okay, now the way we remember that pattern, the 4 and the 3, they're on the inner side of the guitar, on the inside. So I'm going to go in. I don't have any, it's just in, just say that. In. And then the 5 and the 2 are outside there, so we're going to go outer. It's okay? In, outer. So there's the inner, in, outer. And we're just going to do that. In, outer, in, and we're teaching those fingers where they live. Now if I put a chord on, like an A minor, oh, all of a sudden, it sounds like something. And there's a C. And you can do a lot with that, just with that. And I can play an E minor. I won't change the bass note yet. G, or any chord. Now, if you want to make it sound a bit more sophisticated, when I'm playing the chord A minor, or anything to do with A, down this end, I'm using a capo, forget about that, so just so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to play the 5th string to kick it off with, because that's the root note of the A minor chord, or A anything, okay? So I'm going to start here, A. On the last 3 when I come off, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm going to play that 3rd string open so I can be moving to the next shape. In this case I'm going to play a C, and I'm going to start with the 5th string again. Why am I starting with that again? I can hear you say, because when that string is played at the 3rd fret on this chord, that is the root note of C, it's the bass note C, so I'm going to start with that again. And then on the last beat I'm doing 2 bars. What does that mean? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I'm coming off 3. I'm always going to play the 3 open in order that I can move. And then I'm going to play an E minor. Now, an E minor, the bass note is here. So I'm going to play exactly the same thing, but instead of playing a 5, I'm going to play a 6, okay? And so I'm going to go 6, 2, 4, 3. Everything's the same except for that one note, that one string. And then I'm going to come off on the 3. I've got no finger there anyway, but I'm still going to come off to move to the next chord, which is a G. So I'm going to leave that finger on there, and I'm going to put this finger up here. I'm not going to do this like you see in a book. There's my E minor. I'm going to put that there. I'm not even going to bother putting this finger on down here yet, because I'm not playing that string. So I'm just going to play the same again. I'm going to play this string again. Why? Because that note, the 3rd fret, is the root note G. 6, 2, 4, 3, 6, 2, 4, 3, 6, 2, 4, 3, 6, 2, 4, 3. I'll start again. A minor. C. E minor. G. And if I was to count that in the bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and. Okay, so far so good. Now if we wanted to sort of give the impression that we've got a bass guitar playing along with us, okay? And this is where it gets better, you know. So that's all we've got to do. I'm only using those 4 chords because it gives us an opportunity. They're 4 chords that you can play millions of songs with, but they just sound great together. Using the same chords, I'm going to alternate the bass note now. So I'm going to start on the 5th string, as I said before. But instead of going 5, 2, 4, 3, 5, 2, 4, 3, I'm going to alternate from the 5th string. Have I got a spur string above it? Yes, I have. So I'm going to go to that one when I hit it again. 5, 2, 4, 3, 6, 2, 4, 3, 5, 2, 4, 3, 6, 2, 4, 3. Boom. There's our bass guitar. Okay. Fingers off. Now I'm going to play a C. Now, there's my C bass note there, as we played before. Now the note that I want to play to, do we have a string above it? Yes, we do. It's there. Now, we don't want to play it as an open string though. We can either lift this finger up to play it when it's required, or we can play the C like this, as I would always do, okay, with the bass note G, the alternating bass note, i.e. the boxer. exactly what that is. On E minor, when we started here, didn't we? And then horror of horrors, so we don't have a bass string above it. So we'll just bounce to the one below, okay? Why start there? Because that's the E string. Bounce to the one below. And then to G. We're starting here. Do we have one above it? No, we don't, so we'll bounce to the one below it. And you must have heard hundreds of things. Now, what I tend to do, what about the first string? Well, when you start a new bar, you know, just put the first string in with the first 5, so don't play it again. Play it whenever you change chord, so as a rule of thumb. So I'm going to, instead of just going 5, 2, 4, 3, I'm going to go 5 and 1, 2, 4, 3, 5 and 1 together. C. And it gives us a nice bing, and you just let that ring out underneath the rest of it. You see? And of course, when you play the G, if you're going to do that, you need that finger there. And so on. And from that, you get things like. Alright, so Frank, Mr. Yule, he's asked me, cheers Frank, thanks for the donation to the old channel. We've got, have you any tips for playing with a backing track? Now, do you mean a backing track as in live? I mean, if you're talking about playing, you know, like a backing track, as if you're going to do something on a stage and you've got a backing track, the most important thing is to make sure that you know the song. That's important, you know, because so many people, they'll pick a backing track and it'll be in the wrong key. You know, a lot of people think they can't sing sometimes because the person that the song that they're trying to do is just in the wrong key for their voice. They can probably sing, but it's just the wrong key. So make sure you choose the right key to the song. It's very, very important. Now, if you're talking about playing with a backing track, i.e. some lead guitar or whatever, then I just go onto YouTube and I'll just put, I do lots of things. I'll put in things like, you know, Mr. Blue Sky without guitar, or Mr. Blue Sky isolated drums, and then you'll just get the drums playing on something, you know, and then you can play along to that. Or you can say I'm learning something by, say I wanted to do the Bohemian Rhapsody solo, I'd put Bohemian Rhapsody without guitar, and then it'll come to that part of the song, and then I'll play the guitar, and I haven't got Brian May playing his wonderful bit over the top and making me think, it's me, how great I am. I can hear what I'm doing. So, you know, just ask YouTube, go onto YouTube and just ask it what you want and you'll get it. Right. Hiya Beth is our friend from the good old USA. Hiya Beth. By the way, folks, let us know where you're contacting us from. Okay, this is Malcolm. Thanks, Rob, for all your teachings. The Salisbury Hill tutorial is hard to get my head around, but it's getting slightly quicker each week. Well, it is funny because the timing on Salisbury Hill is Peter Gabriel, isn't it? It's a funny timing. Once you get your head around it, though, it's not too bad. And I've got any tips for playing partial bar chords? Can manage a full bar with a bit of effort, but just cannot get a partial bar chord to ring clear. It depends what song you're playing. You know, the partial ones, you know, I think the key is making sure you got the right technique. This guitar's going all over the place. So if you're playing, you know, when you're listening to a track, say you're playing sort of, you know, funk or whatever, or, you know, you don't need much, you know. I think it's all about technique, making sure that your finger, we've talked about this before, don't use the fleshy part of your finger as such. Try and use the outer side of your finger and get your thumb behind it. I don't know why I played that. I think that must have reminded me of James Bond. Must have been watching Bond. I played that for a reason. I'm going to remind me to tell you something about E minor in a minute. It's important. Anyway, we got sidetracked with questions, didn't we, for a while? Let me go carry on with what we did. We did Fields of Gold, the great song by Sting. Eva Cassidy did it as well. Beautiful, beautiful. In fact, their version's better, I think. We did the classical thing for dummies, and we used Lagrima, or I used Lagrima as a way of showing you that you can play a great 5-piece of music without having to learn to read music. We did Down Down by the wonderful Status Quo, which I would demonstrate for you again, but my guitars aren't tuned to the right. They tune to an open G tuning. That's a good one. I love Status Quo. Real great band, you know. Borrowed one of their guitars. I was working in a studio in London, in Surrey, called the Factory Recording Studio, in a place called Waldingham, and Francis Rossi used to live down the road, and he left a guitar in there one day, and it was lying there. So I had to use it on one of our songs. A song we did called Valley of Evergreen, which did very well, actually. Go and check it out, Valley of Evergreen. But thank you, Francis, for leaving your guitar in the studio. When you listen to it, it's the guitar that goes, that's his guitar, all right? The Hit the Right Notes we did, a finger workout. Now, the gentleman here that I said before, when he says he can't get his head around, partial things, this is one of the things that you need to do. I never did enough of it as a kid. I always thought that's boring, and I never did it. I just got on with learning to play T-Rex and Slade, and I wish I'd spent a little bit more time on it, because it probably would have helped me later on when I was doing the more complex things, but it was things like type of thing. I don't like it. I don't like doing it, but it's very important, because warming up and getting your fingers ready is vitally important. And I did the other one, the torture one called the Staircase, which was go and have a look at them. I only did them a couple of weeks ago. This teaches you to stretch your fingers, And what did we do? We put our 4 fingers in a row like this, bink, 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 bink. Keep these fingers questions coming in, folks, because I say this thing's going to last as long as your questions. We do this. We start here with like the staircase, din, 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 and we just move one finger at a time to the left. Now I'm doing this again, a little finger picking exercise. I'm going 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's all I'm going to do. It's not a musical thing. It's not supposed to sound nice. It's a stretchy thing, and it's supposed to hurt a bit. Ow! Now it's starting to hurt. Ow. And so on, and so on. And that will, the idea is that so when you come to play things like, when you've got some serious stretches. That's, and that Prince one we did. How not to sound sloppy when playing on amp with gain. Well, if you're playing with a lot of gain, of course your guitar is going to distort. You're going to get a lot more. It's like putting your thumb over a hose pipe. So you're going to get a nice, strong. It's a good question, this actually. A nice, powerful sound. But what you don't want, if you're playing lead guitar, you don't want all the other noise that goes with it. So when you're playing, very briefly, when you're playing single note stuff on a heavily amplified guitar, what you'll notice, or you probably don't notice because you don't see from, but the guitar players will have their hand over all the strings they're not playing, and whenever they come in for a note, they will sort of let their thumb ride above the string they're playing. In this case, the 5th string. And when they go back in for the next note, they'll make sure that their thumb kills the string that's above it, and the hand hand is play all over the strings they don't want. You know, that's the key, really. And the thing is, play slowly, because you know people think playing fast is the key. It's not. Playing slow. You need a lot more control to play slowly than you do to play fast. So play things slowly. Do nice clean things to start with. Learn. If you want to start doing some solo guitar work, do something that feel classy. Do things like Albatross, you know, by Fleetwood Mac, or Apache. You know, don't underestimate how good a guitar player Hank Marvin was. It takes a lot of skill to play the notes as cleanly as Mr. Marvin. It really does. You know, any idiot can flash around the thing going like this, and it happens that fast you can't hear the notes. You play it slow, and you'll hear everything. That's why classical guitars are, because you just hear everything. You know. What else have we got here? Hello again. When you pick, are you bracing your right hand? How do you mean bracing? I don't know what that means. It depends. I suppose it depends what you're going to play when you're picking. There's different styles of picking. If you're playing classical guitar, you know you tend not to allow your hand to touch the strings. You know, it's more of a sort of I'll try and play it on here a second. That's right. I'm not. See, I'm not allowing my hand to touch the strings. When you're playing something that's a bit more sort of Chet Atkins style, then you'll allow your hand to sort of slop around over the strings a bit more. You know, that type of thing. See the way I've got my hands sort of lying across the string. So it all really depends what the piece of music is that you're trying to play. And of course every guitar player, you know, they're like oil painters. They can be looking at the same scenery, but they all paint it in a different way. It's the same with musicians, guitarists. You know, they all approach their music in a different way. So if you're playing something by Mark Knopfler, then you have to get into the head of Mark Knopfler if you want to play it like him. You can't use a sort of David Gilmour technique to play a Mark Knopfler song, or vice versa. It just doesn't work. They have a particular style, you know. So you got to get into the head of the player, and only then, you know, can you do it. And the same with finger picking and all that sort of stuff. You know, some guitarists will use one finger, like Mel Travis. Others will use three. Others will use two. Others will have nails. Somebody else won't have nails. You know, what is it you're trying to learn? Study what they're trying to do. Have a good look at what they're doing. Slow it down on YouTube. You know, ask people like me. I'm here for you. If you're not sure on something, just get in touch. Steady. Just how's he doing this? And if I can help you, I will. I've always wanted a Hofner violin bass. What's the difference in quality? Different models. Which model? Well, I've got one here. Yeah, hold on. I'll have these. Where's that? Can you grab that bass for us, please? This is from Ray's asking a question here. I've got one. It's not a very expensive one. I don't even know what it. You know, it's cool though, isn't it? I use this, the Puncture the Moon album. I've got a Fender Precision bass, an active one from the 80s. Cost me about, I don't know, a couple of grand. Beautiful bass. I used that on maybe I think 2 tracks, and then I was practicing in the studio with this one because it was so much easier to play. It's not plugged in, and I said to the engineer plugged it in, and he says, "Why aren't you using that one?" I said, "Well, it's nowhere near as expensive as the other one." He goes, "Well, don't matter. It sounds great." So I ended up using this one on most of the album because it's so light and it is beautiful to play, and it wasn't that expensive. This one, I don't know how much it was now, but here we are. It's a nice bass, and I'm going to use it a lot more. but you can, you know, if you go, if you want to buy one of the old vintage ones, then they'll obviously cost you a lot more money. It's funny, you know, that I have this thing, you know, I mean, when Paul McCartney bought his 1961 bass, you know, his Hofner violin bass or whatever it was, he bought the newest bass he could buy. He didn't go into the shop and say, "Excuse me, have you got a bass guitar that's 60 years old, please?" He went in and said, "Excuse me, have you got a bass guitar that I can buy that was made yesterday?" All right. But because we have nostalgia attached to these instruments, like Jimmy Page when he was playing his wonderful Les Paul, and Peter Green, again, they didn't go into the shop and say, "Can I have a guitar that's 50 years old, please?" They wanted the state of the art. They wanted the latest one. So whenever you're buying anything, always remember that, you know, they're not always better. You know, sometimes technology is worth having. Not all the time, because, you know, one of the arguments for older guitars is they have settled in, because new guitars do seem, you know, they still think they're made of, they still think they're trees, because they haven't settled, you know. And of course the wood in older instruments was better in a lot of cases, that, you know, because they've got all sorts of restrictions on the type of timber that you can use now. But, you know, older guitars, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be better than a new one. So it's always worth thinking about that. It's all to do, especially with electric guitars. I mean, amplifiers as well. You know, in the olden days, you know, before my time, you know, there was no such thing as effects pedals. You had a guitar, and it was heavily reliant on how the guitar was built, and the pickups, etc., just decided on the sound. And you know, he had a 30-watt amp, and that was your lot. In fact, Ray Davis and people like him, Dave Davis and the Kings, they used to rip holes in their speakers in order to get a distorted sound. They didn't have fuzz boxes and all that sort of stuff. Whereas now you can get a shitty guitar. You know, you can't unplug it into an amp with some of these effects already built in, and they sound great. You wouldn't know the difference. You really, really wouldn't. I mean, one of my friends brought in a, was it? Oh God, I can't remember. Beasts and Guitar. I can't remember it. I always forget the name. But it was it was a Telecaster thing, and he said, "I've got this guitar. It cost me £50." I said, "What is it?" He goes, "It's a Telecaster, and it was new." I said, "You're kidding." I thought, this is going to be shit. You don't buy great guitars for 50 quid. You just don't. But he brought it in, and the first thing I noticed is it had weight, and I thought he was joking. And I played it, and if it had had Fender written on the top, I'd have thought it was a Fender Telecaster. And I know what they play like, because I've got one down. I've had one for 50 years, you know, a 1971. I've had it for years, and it was absolutely great. And it cost him 50 quid, brand new. I can't remember. It began with a B, I think. But anyway, it's a well-known cheap brand make. What else have we got here? Thanks, Glenn Campbell. Surely it can't be thee, but there we go. Thank you very much. What else have we got? Lynn's here. We've done that one. What else have we got here? Let's have a little look. Oh yeah, I haven't done them. Let's have a look. What haven't we done? Let's get back to the. Yeah, Link had put me off. Oh. Yeah, we did. Thanks, love. I've got to have me tea. See, when I get talk, I have to talk, because these are slow getting questions in tonight. Put the grill on. Let's have some cheese on toast. It's going to be a short one. Purple Rain. Not many of you went near that one, did you? Chicken. Wait, if you want to play it properly. By the way, for those people out there that think you need to be built like a brick shit house, you don't. This wonderful guitar intro was not played by Prince. It was played by a great female guitar player called Katie Melvoin. I think that's how you pronounce her lady's name. Brilliant guitar player, and it's not easy. It's difficult, but you know, I'll put it up on a Saturday. I'll try and do it on this acoustic. Tricky little bugger. It's easy on easier on electric. It's not very easy to play on that. But anyway, we did Purple Rain. Some of us who had the bottle to give it a go. I always put a few up like that. You've got to push the boat out, and you've got to have a little, you know, you can't just do easy stuff all the time. And then I did a great one. Fly me to the moon, let me play amongst the stars. Let me know what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Great one. You got to do that one. Fly me to the moon. Everyone knows that. And apparently we're going back to the moon. So that's going to be, in fact, the sort of headline with Fly Me to the Moon earlier on the news today. Sinatra did it. Michael Bublé did it. Everyone has done Fly Me to the Moon. So you've got to do that one. So that was the last one that that we did. And I've also been. What else have we been up to this week? I've rewritten a play. I don't just do music, you know. Lennon's Banjo. We premiered it in 2018 in a beautiful little theatre in Liverpool called the Epstein Theatre. So we premiered it there, and we had a tour lined up for it in 2020. And of course it was all cancelled because of a national tour in Britain, because it was all cancelled because of the pandemic. So then we rescheduled it for 2022, and then two of our other shows were tours were cancelled. So we ended up putting those shows in place of Lennon's Banjo. And then I read it again and thought, well, we can do a little bit of work on it. So it's a rewrite. So Lynn and I, we're doing that today, weren't we, mate? Yeah. So I like it. It's going to be a goodie. It's the first instrument he ever learned to play was his mother's banjo, and it's been missing. This is true since 1959. No one knows what happened to it. No one knows where it was. All we know is it was a beautiful instrument worth a lot of money. And I interviewed John's sister, a lady called Julia Bird, and she described this banjo because she used to be in the room when their mother was teaching him how to play it. He must have been about 16 at the time, and she described in detail of the experience, how she'd sit behind him and show him the chords, learn him how to play. That'll be the day, and all these things. And she said that when their mum got killed by an off-duty policeman, I think, or whatever, outside the house, the banjo and some of her other belongings went missing, and to this day no one knows what happened to it, And I said to her, just in, thinking, because it was the only thing he had left of his mum, and he talked about his mother right up until his death in 1980, and he always talked about this banjo. He always went on about it, talking about it, and he, the last interview he gave, he was saying how he was going to come back to Liverpool in 1981 and rekindle his relationship, because he don't think he ever got over the death of his mum. He always used to say, she left me twice, once when he was 5, when he was left to be brought up by his Aunt Mimi, and then again when he was 17, when he just got to know her again. So I said to Julia, I said, oh, it must have been, close to him, this banjo. I wonder if he hid it somewhere. She goes, you know what, Rob, that's just the sort of thing he would have done. And that got me thinking, imagine for a minute that John Lennon had put his prized possession, the only thing he had left of his mum, if he'd put it somewhere, okay? And that's the premise of the story. Now, bearing in mind that one of his pianos sold in 2020 for like £1.5 million. 2020, how long ago was that? 25 years ago. And these things pop up all the time. Only about a year ago or something, one of Paul McCartney's stolen bass guitars, a Hofner violin, probably read about it, it was all world news. That was hidden in somebody's attic. Somebody had stolen it outside Abbey Road, and they'd since died. And one of the family said, "Oh, listen, they clearly couldn't flog it in the local pub." But these things pop up all the time. So this play is a story about the Holy Grail of pop memorabilia and on its whereabouts. Okay, and as I say, it's an intriguing little tale because we all believe in Liverpool that it could actually be out there somewhere waiting to be found. And if it is, you're talking about millions. All right. Any chance of Lennon's Banjo coming to the Buxton Opera House? I want it to go everywhere. I particularly want it to go to America, because our main characters, or some of the main characters, are Texans. I love Texans. I love Tex speak. I loved Dallas, I loved all that stuff. So Texans play a big part in it, you know. So you look out for it, Lennon's Banjo. It'll be, you'll hear more about it as we get going. Right, is Ibanez the guitar brand you're thinking of? No, it isn't. What's it called? It's like a newish make. Ibanez are good guitars. Geez, they're great. Greg, can you teach Nobody Knows when you're down and out? Who did that one? Oh, Christ, of course I should know. I've heard it. Yeah, I will. I'll have a go at it. Where's your brew tonight? Nick, I've got one here, Nick. But, you know, it came late in the day. But I have got one. That sigh was not me, that was Lynn. What else have we got? No, it wasn't Ibanez. It was Benton or something like that. Can you do a tutorial on Homeward Bound? It sort of goes, I'll give you a rough rendition. Who's asking that question? Stephen. Don't forget, if you do a tea donation, that thing pops up more. That's a good thing. You buy us a cup of tea and I'll sing you a tune. How's that? Test me. I don't want any obscure bloody American stuff. I don't mind a few American tunes, of course I don't, but you know, come on, put us to the test, see if I know them. Let's see what we know, shall we? Off the cuff. So what was this one? Homeward Bound.
Yeah.
Don't know the words. Well, I'm sitting in a railway station, got a ticket for my destination. On a tour of one-night stands, my suitcase and guitar in hand, and every stop is neatly planned for a poet and a one-man band. What are the words? Homeward bound, I wish I was homeward bound. Home, where my thoughts escaping, home, where my music's playing, home, where my love lies waiting silently for me. Homeward Bound. That was great. That was written in a railway station not that far from where I'm sitting now. He was doing a tour and he was sitting there, I think it was Wigan, one of those Wigan railway station, and he wrote this wonderful song. It's funny how where inspiration comes from. It comes from him freezing his bollocks off in the middle of winter in the middle of a northern town in England. There you go. So there we are. What else have we got? Oh, Witness, was it? Yeah. Ah, I knew it began with a W. You know. What else have we got here? Standard tuning. What? Yeah, band standard tuning. I'm in standard tuning. Are you thinking of? Yes, I am. Well done. Harley Benson it was. Thank you. Who said that? Strum Hollow. Yeah, it was a Harley Benson. That's what it was. Now I think since then they've put their prices up a lot, but you know, it was a great guitar. A mate of mine called Mark, he brought it in, and it was lovely to play. Lovely to play. As I say, if it had Fender written on the top, I would have sworn it was one. Because there was nothing about it. It felt the right weight, you know. Because normally cheap guitars, they're quite light, and you know, we have a thing in our game. We all know, you know, the weight of your guitar tells you a lot. For example, a Gibson SG, if you got hit over the head with it, would, you know, stun you. A Telecaster would knock you out, and a Gibson Les Paul would kill you. All right, that's you know, each guitar has a weight to it, you know, and the is it Harley Benson? It was the Harley bit that got me. I was going to say a fucking Harley Davidson. Harley Benson, you know, they've got a bit of weight to them. Right, you once did a throwaway bit of America on one of your live streaming chance future tutorial. I will do that one. It's a beautiful. I think that's one of my favourite. It's one of my favourite songs. So we bought a pack of cigarettes, Mrs. Wagner pies, and walked off to look for America. Yeah, that's a good song. It's a beautiful song. That. My favourite one. My favourite Simon and Garfunkel song. That one. I don't even know why I haven't done it, but I will. And talking of things I will do, I've been working on a few. See, this is what I get up to. This is where all you Patreon people who help fund my Patreon platform. This is what I'm working on now. Junk. Let me rephrase that. For fuck's sake. Junk, the song by Paul McCartney. Okay? Beautiful, beautiful song. Let's have a look at the words. I work them out and then I have to learn them. And I'm looking at my idiot proof here. All out my idiot proof. See all down here of what I'm going to do. So I'm now going to read this so I can play the bugger and then probably cock it up, but never mind. It's live, isn't it? It's all part of the fun. That's it. Motor cars, handlebars, bicycles for two, broken-hearted jubilee, parachutes, army boots, sleeping bags for two. What's next? Sentimental jamboree. And then he goes into the middle. Bye. Oh no. Bye. Bye, says the sign in the shop window. Why, says the junk in the yard. Bridged. Junk. That one I'm gonna do. Gotta learn it first though, folks. So I'm gonna do that one by Mr. McCartney. Then we're gonna do on probably this Wednesday. We'll do a nice easy one by McCartney. Honest to God, this is the easiest Beatles song I know. Now, if you can play, a lot of you beginners out there, you'll be saying, "Oh, I pull the other one, mate. I've heard the record. Can't be that easy." If you can play an E minor, mind your head there, Lynn. I need to Lynn's eye out then. If you play an E minor like that, now that's why you don't ever play it like this. If you put your little finger on the second string at the 3rd fret, alright, then put it at the 2nd fret, and then put your 1st finger at the 1st fret, all on the 2nd string, and then take it off. That is 4/5 of the chord you need to know to play Eleanor Rigby. Eleanor Rigby, the wonderful, probably one of their most successful songs. I'll do it again. It's also James Bond the other way around. Okay, but all the lonely people, where do they all come from? Okay, so if you know how to do that, the only other chord you need to know is C. Then we start on E minor. Eleanor Rigby, what's the words? Eleanor Rigby picks up the rice in a church where a wet and a sea bean lives in a dream, waits at the window, wearing a face that she keeps in a jar by the door. Who is it for? All the lonely people. That's it, you know. Great song. They're the only shapes you need to know. Hence the thing. So we'll do that this Wednesday. Okay, this Wednesday we'll do that one. Then we're going to do. This is fun. And then on Saturday we're going to do. If I play the first few bars. What's that, Lynn? You weren't listening. Couldn't give a shit, would you?
Oh, questions.
We're going to do this one. Sun is shining in the sky. There ain't a cloud in sight. It stopped raining. Everybody's in the play. And don't you know, it's a beautiful today. Hey, next verse. Running down the avenue. See how the sun shines brightly in the city where the streets there once was pretty. Mr. Blue Sky is living in a light. Hey. Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? You just so you Hey, where are you going?
I'm standing there.
You say so long. Okay. Mr. Blue Sky, please. Hang on, do it again. Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. That's good, that. Where did you go wrong? Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? Oh, whatever. That was good, that, mate. There we go. Cushy. Linda's all the backing singing on my albums. She's very good, you know. She did very good. I wouldn't let her need it if she was shit, but she isn't. She's very good. What else have we got? Which one? I, Rob, I'm an old beginner struggling with the gallop on Apache. I keep catching the strings and getting hooked up. I've been trying for about 2 months. Okay, so Rob, the bit you're referring to
Bob.
is it Bob?
Bob.
You're referring to that bit. Now, what you need to do, forget about all these fingers are going to do is just be on the 3rd fret. This is the key. Again, you know we were talking before about resting your hand when you're not. Don't try and move your arm. You move your fingers, okay? So rest your hand just behind the bridge, just on the bridge, okay? You maybe have a slight bit of dampening, not too much, and look out the control. And you're going to go down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. And grab hold of the other strings to keep you in, you know, stop your hand wobbling around. Not too much pleck showing. We don't want, if you have too much pleck showing, it's like writing a letter holding a pencil like this. It ain't gonna work. All right, nice. Get your pleck, you know, where you can, you know, get a bit of control over it. As if you're writing a neat letter to your bank manager, dear fascist bully boy. Young ones. Come on, you've heard of them. Ready? Down, down, up, down, down. Now I'm doing that without. You can drink your tea practicing it. Okay, so that's what you do, but do it slowly. Mind your head, love. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Get the chant in your head. Da 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 da. But slowly. See, there's no hand movement. It's all fingers. A little bit of wrist. And there's a bit of it there as well, isn't there? Sorry, can you see? But it's the same thing. Down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 down. But it's all that. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Don't do anything else. Just do that slowly. And chant. Down, down, up, 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 down, down. 5. Hit the 5. Everything else is on the 4th string. Done. 5. Don't, when you're practicing it, damp the strings when you're watching telly. once you get that rhythm right, you'll have it. All right. So I hope that's helped. You just got to keep going over it over and over again. I'd like to thank Vic for a donation to the Robin Lynn Tea and Coffee Fund. We could, hey, listen the way things are going. Maybe have to get a few biscuits here. You know, put on a few pound. Hey, why not? Tony, can you show us your version of what is it, Mr. Bojangles? I don't know that. Which is Mr. Bojangles? I know the song, don't I? No, I don't know it. Oh, well, I'm sorry. I'll have to go over some of these. These, you know, the old swing numbers. What I need to do is I need to put a tie on. I need to put a shirt and tie, sort of loosen it off a bit. You know, knock my head to one side, look like I've just come out of a pub half pissed, and then sing you these songs. You know.
You don't drink.
I know I don't drink. They don't know that though. You've just spoilt the illusion of my rock and roll status. Of course I don't drink.
What do? You drink tea?
I drink tea, yeah.
Coffee.
No, that avenue of pleasure I gave up some years ago. What have we got here? Nobody knows when you...
Scrap a black hole.
I've heard it. I know I've heard it. I'll check it out. When you've all gone, we review these things and see what we've missed. What else have we got? Clay Pigeon. What's that one?
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
Stool Pigeon.
Yeah. Oh no, that's.
You fucking idiots. I swore that.
What
What was the other one? Single Pigeon. Only Paul McCartney could write a song about a pigeon that's got no girlfriend.
I was going to say Pigeon.
And that was Lieutenant Pigeon. When the 70s, could I say, charts were full of shit. They really were. Some good stuff in there, but Christ, we had some crap in at the same time. Bloody hell. Yeah, you out there, those people are from the 70s, right? 70s. What was the funniest? What's the worst Top of the Pops you've ever seen? Which is the worst artist? Come on, we all know the great ones.
Shut up with your
Which
face.
one? You know, I mean, that Shut Up Your Face, that stopped Vienna getting to #1. You know, Please Release Me. That, in fact, was a great song, actually, by Engelbert Humphrey. That stopped Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields getting to #1. Thanks, Brian. Brian Healy. How's it going? It's going fine, thank you. It's going fine. What else have we got here? These questions are getting thin on the ground. You know, I'm starting to get a sore back. My wife plays a Rogue violin bass, light, short scale, and nice sounding. Yeah. You know what? You can spend a fortune on guitars, and you just end up. You know, sometimes you get a good one, and sometimes you get a crap one. It's a bit like a car. You know, the only way. Shine On You, Crazy Diamond, a beautiful song. I'd have to go over it. You know, I'd have to go over it. What else have we got? What's the best song with a lot of bends to practice? Well, I think anything by, you know, if you're doing the bendy stuff, you know, Brian May, David Gilmour, you know, just practice. What's this? Lynn's laughing.
Well, you asked them worst song.
Anything by the Bay City Roll. I quite like the Tiny Tim. Fucking hell, I remember him. Yeah, you know, he'd go down well now. Him, the Sweet. I liked the one I liked was the. There were two songs and they had the same riff. There was Bowie. Watching genius going out through the city, and then you had Sweet. You better take care. You don't let it. That one, it was good. The Rollers did some good stuff, you know. I mean, I liked some of the songs, but they had shitty management. You see, we were all around at the same time. We were all, in fact, there's pop shows in Japan, you know, where, you know, we were like at #1 in US. We were, and my band were huge over there, and the Rollers had been #2 and #3, and ABBA. We were all in there, all loved it together. But I know that the Rollers, they had problems with their management company, and they weren't able to really express. We all had a little bit of that, to be honest, but we were a bit more. We had a bit more, you know. We were more of a live act. We could play. The Rollers struggled a bit to play live, whereas that was our thing, you know. But no, they did some nice records. See, there's a distinction between making a good pop record and then you know when you're in the pop business. And then the Monkees had this problem. The Monkees made great pop records, but they weren't good enough live, unfortunately, because they were actors really. but they wrote the most beautiful, or their songwriters wrote the most beautiful songs, and it's just the way it is. The Beatles were unique. They were great performers, and they wrote great songs. It's very hard to find the two that come together, you know. But the Rollers did some good stuff. They did some shitty ones and all, but we all did. We all made some crappy records. We didn't make that many crappy ones. We had how many top 6 records did we have? Worst position we ever had in Japan was number 6. We had number 2s, number 1s, and everything, and a couple in Germany. I said number 2s then. I don't mean shit, by the way. You know, I'm talking myself into a thing here. I know Brian from the Suite. Brian Connolly. He was great, Brian Connolly. Yeah. I thought the Suite were great. I thought the Suite, right? They were the fantastic, of all those bands. I think they were fine musicians, great singers. All of them could sing well. In fact, if you listen to some of their harmonies, they were on par with and I'll piss people off here, but I don't care, with Queen. They were really clever musicians. They knew what they were doing, but they went down a pop road. Now, you know, we can laugh at that if you like, but I tell you what, of all the glam bands, they did the best in America. You know, they were huge in America. Bolan didn't get a number 1 in the States. I think he only had one hit, which was Get It On. Slade didn't get a look in. They got nothing. When I say to my American friends, have you heard of Slade, you know, they say, oh, who's that? They haven't got a clue. Mention the Suite and that, and they'll know what that is. So there you go. You know, it's swings and roundabouts in this game. Do you have calluses on your fingers? I certainly do. I have them on my fingers. I have them everywhere in my whole body. You know, Bye Bye Baby. Who did that one? That was an old song, wasn't it? The Rollers did a lot of songs that were hits in the 60s and you know, it annoys me that bands mentioned from the 60s and everybody mentions the Beatles and the Stones, but no one ever mentions the Hollies. No, you're quite right. The Hollies, again, were a great band. I think the reason they don't mention the Hollies as much is because, unlike the Beatles and the Stones, they didn't write their music. They made great records, but Graham Gouldman, you know, great songwriter, he wrote a lot of their hits. You know, even the Beatles wrote one of their hits. You know, so that's the reason. You know, they were good performers, but they just didn't write the same stuff. Slade were a fantastic live act. I played with Slade. We had my band Buster. We had a big hit in Germany, and we were touring over there, and we had the pleasure of doing a couple of gigs with Slade at an open air event, and they were stunning. They were absolutely brilliant. Love them. They were my inspiration as the top hat. And I remember I think I've recounted this story before, but we were 5 years earlier. I was at the stadium in Liverpool where all the bands used to play. I was about 12 watching them, and there were 2 other bands on I'd never heard of. One was Thin Lizzy, and another one was called Susie Quattro. Never heard of them. We just went to see Slade, and I remember seeing one of them on the gantry round, and we were all doing this because we used to, you know, they used to have this thing with Slade written on their thumb or whatever it was, and you know, he was looking down. Jimmy Lee, the bass player, was looking down, and we all thought he was looking at us. You know, he's looking at me, and then wind the clock forward, and I'm standing in a dressing room with Jimmy Lee and Noddy Older and all the others on a pop show. We were in the top 10. They were in the top 10, and you know, I always remember, you know, when rock and roll hit home. I remember Noddy coming out of the toilet with nothing on other than his top hat, his mirrored hat, and his underpants, asking Dave Hill where he'd put his trousers. And it suddenly dawned on me at that moment that rock and roll wasn't exactly everything that we thought it was now. But they were a great bunch of guys. Still are, you know. Brilliant. Daydream Believer, that is a great song. That was a B-side for the Monkees. I love the Monkees. I thought the Monkees made some of the best records of the 60s. I really do. But they had great songwriters, you see. You know, I think who wrote Clear, you know. The one that they should have done that they didn't was Sugar Sugar, which is one of my favourite pop records of all time ever. And the Archies did it, the cartoon band. In fact, I've done a lesson for it on here, because I don't care what anyone says. I think pop music, when done well, it's absolutely brilliant. You know, it's absolutely fantastic. I love pop music, you know, and a bit of early Genesis. The Allman Brothers, Let Your... Oh, well done. Well, it wasn't the Allman Brothers, it was the Bellamy Brothers.
That's the one.
Let your love like a bird on the wing, let your love to all living things, let your love flow. That's it. You know what I mean, that's the season. That was the Bellamy Brothers, that one. That was the Bellamy Brothers. That was a great record, no? What else have we got? Come on, I'm enjoying this. I like these things. Do you know these tunes? What else have we got? The Allman Brothers. On the Rollers album. Roll It. It was only Les on the album. Rest was Session Clem. Yeah, I know. They had, I think, Big Jim Sullivan. He played a lot of guitar with them. They were nice guys. I felt a bit sorry for them really because they had a shit manager. He got them to where there's. I'm not even going to mention that fella's name because I wouldn't want to. He's not with us anymore, so I wouldn't want to be disrespectful. But rumor has it, allegedly, that he wasn't the best manager they could have had. So there we are. Cat Stevens was a great performer. Yeah, brilliant performer. A Daydream Believer. Didn't Neil Diamond write that? He did. He wrote that one. But the they had great writers. Who's this? Apologies, Rob. Long day. Yeah, was it? I think about the Allman Brothers. The Allman Brothers. They did the theme for what's her name, didn't they? Yeah, there's the thing for you. Who played, on Layla? Who played the guitar? Who played this bit? Who did that? Everyone will say, Eddie Clapton. It wasn't him. It was Duane Allman from the Allman Brothers. Andrew Gold, Lonely Boy. Yeah, great record. He was great, Andrew Gold. What was the song I did of his recently? Come on, let's go. Talk to my baby on the telephone, long distance. That one. I really only met about a week ago, but it doesn't seem to matter to my heart. I know that I love. That's the one. Sit out, so you'll get there. What else was there? Jessica, they did. That's it. That was the theme for. Top Gear. That was the only. Yeah, I see. There we go. Right, have we got any more questions? Come on, it's getting to the witching hour. I'll give it another couple of minutes. Is there any other songs that we haven't done? Oh, the other one I was going to do. I'm going to do. We're going to have a go at. Again, it's a Wednesday lesson. We're going to do Rocket Man by Elton John. It's a nice one, that. Mainly E minors and A's, nice easy shapes. I'll do that for a Wednesday. And then we'll have a go at, for all you classical heads out there, another Torrega track called Prelude number 11. A great tune. Prelude number 11, again, another great classical piece. So we'll have a go with that. And don't forget, look, everything you need to do, all the finger positions, nicely, it's not too hard, these. Once you know what it is, it's easy. Don't be put off by the word classical. It's just guitar, all right? It's just guitar. Once you know where your fingers go and you hit the right strings, which I'm here to tell you what to do, you're laughing, aren't you? All right? The hardest bit about classical guitar is trying to figure out what the hell they're doing. But you've got me to show you. Not with tab, which is impossible to read. All the little pictures are there. You can't cock it up. Did you proof? It's unique to my channel, okay? And you can share the hell out of it because everything on my channel, as you know, is free. You don't have to pay for anything, so you know. And you can share it to whoever you want. I don't care. Stay with me. Oh, is this Sway with Me? What was that one? Do you mean Stay with Me or Sway with Me? I've never heard Sway with Me. Guitar Man by Bread. That was good, isn't it? How's that one go? Keep that. Night after night, we treat you right, baby. It's a guitar man who's gonna steal the show. You know, baby, it's a guitar man. Great song. Bread again. David Gates, what a wonderful songwriter. Rob, I love your idiot-proof chart. Would you do a program of Wanted Man? I will certainly look out for you, Joe. I'll have a look for you. Now listen, anything I can't do, if I don't do it, it's because I don't think the majority of the folks out there, the 40 so what is it, 74,000 of you would be interested, okay? Any searches? No, copyright. Any searches? I saw her today, I saw her face, it was a face I loved, and I knew I had to go away and get down on my knees and pray that they go away, but still they begin up. Needles and pins and snatch because of all my pride. These tears have gotta hide. Oh, I thought I was smart. What a great song. What a great song.
Well, you knew John McNally.
John McNally, he was the blonde-haired, the good-looking blonde-haired lad in the search, and he's a perfect gent. I knew his John and his lovely wife Mary. We used to do some charity work together in the 90s. And I always remember I made a right fool of myself actually. Mary was hosting. Fucking hell, I'm still go red thinking about it. Mary was hosting a charity thing. For a cancer charity, and we were there doing our little bit, you know. And I saw this fella on the stage tuning up his guitar, and you know, I forgot that, you know, John and Mary, they knew everybody in the entertainment. And this guy's up there, and he was struggling. I thought he was struggling to tune his guitar up, so I said, I went up there in a smart ass and said, yeah, would you like me to help you? He goes, oh no, I'm all right, thanks mate, thanks. And I said, okay, suit yourself, you know. And he started playing this song. What was it? You know. Will you down like leather, I said, he's all right though. It's not as good as the real one, you know. I said, it's not as good as the Peter Sarsted. And Mary said, Rob, that is Peter Sarsted. So I was like, here's Mr. Smart-Ass Rob Fennah trying to tell him, Peter, you know, I think he starts out to tune up his guitar. He was great though, and what a beautiful song that is. But John, I got to know him a little bit through his wife and the charity stuff, and we went out to his house one day, and he showed me his guitar collection, which is beautiful. And I mentioned that I was going to be recording, and I said I was looking for a 12-string, and he very kindly lent me his 12-string guitar, and I said, can I use the one that you played on that record, you know, and he lent me. He goes, you will look after it, won't you? And I remember in the hotel, I actually had it in my hand. As I slept, I kept hold of the bloody handle, and because I didn't want anything to happen to it. And I used it, and it was a perfect gent. So I got a lot of time for the old Searchers. Wonderful band.
Was it Colin Manley as well?
No, that was Colin was in the big three.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was great. Anthony Phillips. Now Anthony Phillips, he was one of my mates is a big Anthony Phillips fan. I don't know much of his work, but I know he's very highly respected, not just by old Genesis fans, but I think by Genesis themselves. And I think they were gutted when he left the band, because he was like he was the mainstay, and he got this lad. He got stage fright, and he just couldn't do it anymore. But he still carried on making records. You know, I think it was Alan Hewitt. I think a friend of mine, Alan Hewitt, is a big. A massive fan of Genesis, and he's written some great stuff on Genesis as well. But I'll have to ask him about that particular track. The Seekers, yeah, the Seekers were great. Now these are a little bit before. I don't know how old you think I am, folks, but you know, I'm going back to we're listening to our mum and dad, aren't we?
Well,
you
my
know.
brothers.
Well, I wander the streets of the where's it go? Try to forget you. That's all how it seems. Was it got to Okay. I don't know, it's a busking for Christ's sake, give us a break. What else have we got? Can you learn the answer to Stairway to Heaven? I've done it. You know, everyone. Listen, this when I was younger, we'd never ever play this in a shop. etc. Yeah, it's great. Beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff. I have done the part of that. Yeah, I've done Stairway to Heaven. Have a look. There's 400 videos on my channel, and they do get lost, which is why I sometimes go back to them. But have a look for that one. They're all there again. Paperwork's all there for you, all free. What else? I started working on the staircase stretching, and it's so torturous. I said, look, when you did it, and well, it is. That's the whole point, because you know you're training your fingers to do things they don't normally want to do. You know, it's like, you know, your little finger, you know, on the right hand, you know, or your third finger, things like that. You know, you've got to learn how to pick things. You know, you've got to learn how to use. The only time we use our third finger and something, you know, like this, is if we pick something up with shit on it, and we go, who left that there? You know, that's the only time you tend to do it. But when you're playing guitar, of course, you have to use that finger all the time. How about some Lindisfarne? Hey, where's that one? Yeah, do us a favour, just pass that over there, please, Lynn. That piece of paper, that one. No, it's got Lindisfarne written on it somewhere. I think it's on here. I was doing my favourite Lindisfarne track. Yeah, see. I've been looking at this one, Lady Eleanor, which to me is one of their most ethereal, beautiful tracks. It's sort of. How's it go? And I was trying to do the mandolin. Dancing beauty with a power-driven soul. Had my share of nightmares, didn't think they could do much more. And in walked Roderick Usher with the Lady Eleanor. But it's alright, Lady Eleanor. Alright, where's it going? That's a good one, isn't it? How many of you know Lady Eleanor? If enough of you know it, I'll do it. The reason it's in the pile over yonder is because I wasn't sure. I worked it out and thought, no one's going to know this other than our people in the good old UK.
This keeps popping up.
Just to remind of the Waterloo Sunset Guide, but there's a few of the 74k would want. I've done Waterloo Sunset, haven't I?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, well I'll do it. Oh, yeah, can you remind me, Lynn?
Yeah,
Waterloo Sunset.
What
What was the other one I did of them? Dirty old river, got the keys on it. But and then where's it go? Need no friend. As long as I gaze up Waterloo sunset, I am in paradise. Yeah, let's do that one. That's a good one. That's a good choice. Thank you for that suggestion, my friend. Steve Howe. I've done a Steve Howe piece. I did. Nobody watched it. I spent bloody ages learning probably one of his most famous pieces because Lynn, years and years ago, asked me to learn it. What's it called? Mood for a Day.
Yeah.
You know. Oh. Go and watch it. Mood for a Day, one of the first things I did. That was good. What's that one? Seeker's Carnival. Carnival is over. Beautiful track. The carnival is over. It's great. I love that one. Can you play Girl from Ipanema? No, but I tell you what, that's one I'm going to remind me about that one. That's a beautiful one and all. That's a beautiful song. That's a great track. I love it. What else have we got? Steve Howe. It's Dylan Howe's dad who was Wilco's drummer. Wilco Johnson. Wilco Johnson.
Another story about them as well.
If it was Wilco Johnson, I have got a story about Will. We were doing a gig in the Rock Garden in London, me and my dear brother Al, Alternative Radio, and he had this Simmons electronic kit, and we were using the in-house PA system, and anyways, kit he couldn't plug it into the system they had, and we were supporting Wilco Johnson, and Wilco. You know what a gent he was. He came. He brought his soldering iron in with his tool. Honestly, his tool thing, and he rewired his kit so it would go in the thing. What a gentleman he was. Yeah. So a lot of respect for Wilco Johnson. Sadly, no longer with us. And what a great guitar player he was. What a fantastic. And I tried doing. You tried playing his technique. It's bloody hard. You know, he does that. You know, the way he does it, it's great. Again. If you want to play like Wilco, you've got to get into his head. He uses a heaviest gauge string on a Telecaster. He has quite a high action, and he plays with his fingers. And if you don't do it like him, it don't sound like him. So what was the one that we were going to Roxette?
Roxette, yeah.
Roxette. He's got this brilliant way of doing. But the way he does it, yeah, I can't do it yet. I've got to learn it.
Go backwards and forwards.
And I've got to go
backwards and forwards.
Yeah, it's great. Wilco, love him. Got him sadly missed. 10cc, great band. I did that. You heard me doing that one. I did. What was the one I did? 10cc, the big one. I'm not in love. Done that.
Yeah, he said.
Trying to strum like Wilco. Well, it's not impossible. You just got to get into what he does, and if you want to, and it just takes. You got to go over it again, like I was saying about the picking. You just got to keep doing it. You know, yeah. He was saying at Buxton. Saw Wilco a few months before he died, and he inspired me to get a Telecaster. Yeah, well, Telecasters for me, they're the best guitars you can buy. They're the most versatile guitars, and talking about Stairway to Heaven, everyone assumes that the solo that was played on a Les Paul, it wasn't. It was played on a Telecaster. Telecasters are very versatile instruments, beautiful to play. They're not my most favourite looking guitar. When I was a kid, you know, when I used to watch Top of the Pops, I wanted a Les Paul like like Mark Bolan. I didn't want to Fender Telecaster like Noddy Older because I thought it looked ugly, you know. And I wanted to be on EMI like Mark Bolan. I didn't want to be on the Orange label like the Sweet. You know, 5 years later, I was playing a Fender Telecaster like Noddy Older, and I was signed to the Orange label, RCA, like the Sweet, which was cool because as soon as I found out David Bowie was on that label and Elvis, I suddenly changed my mind. I did actually get to EMI on Parlophone some years later with Alternative Radio, but that's another story. Right, where are we? Should we call it a day? Trying to strum like Wilco, I can't even speak. It was impossible. Right, listen, folks. Thank you very much for your wonderful donation to the channel. Where's my thing? Where's my? Just get us that banjo overlook.
Just that one thing.
What's this one? I always thought that the E35 was the most versatile. It depends. The 335 is it's a warm sounding guitar because it's hollow in it. Yeah, look at this. Top Cat, Top Cat, whose intellectual close friends get to call him Jason. Top Cat, the indisputable was a go leader. Shit, forgot it. Leader of the gang. These are the pieces of shit. Oh, I can't. can't remember it for God's sake. What else do we know on it? My mum got me this. It's great. It's heavy. I'm leaning on the lamppost at the corner of the street in case a certain little lady comes by. Oh me, oh my, I hope that little lady comes by. I like songs like. It's turned out nice again. Have you ever seen what you get? Yeah, what you get if you cross? What's his name? Who did it? If you cross George Formby with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, go on.
I'm not saying it. That's too late.
Oh.
It's turned out nice again, didn't it? You think of the last two. Anyway. I never thought I'd miss you half as much as I do. What's that?
Tribute to Robert Redford.
Oh. Raindrops keep falling on my head, just like the guy's feet are too big for his bed. Nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. So I just did me some talking to the sun, and I said I didn't like the way he got things done, sleeping on the job. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. But there's one thing I know, the blues they send to greet me want to feed me. It won't be long till happiness comes. Where's it go? Up to greet me. Raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. And none is not for me. No, I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me. Nothing's worrying me. Nothing's worrying me. Where's it go? Oh. Hey, Marky. There's our Marcus. It's Hey, Marcus, you're a bit late to the show, aren't you? What? Thank you. Right, what else have we got? Right, any chance of Herman's Hermits, please? I love it. Well, they did some great songs. And old, and he's from Liverpool. Old Hermit. Well, he is. Peter Noon, yeah. First hit he had was written by, I think it was one of the first hits he did, was written by David Bowie.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, I think he did, was it Oh You Pretty Things? David Bowie, before David Bowie had a hit with Oh You Pretty Things and that. So there we are. So, listen, I'm going to get off. I'm teaching in the morning. Guess what time I start in the morning? 8 o'clock. Sunday morning. I'm teaching at 8 o'clock on Sunday morning. It's not funny, you know. And it's going to be freezing, so I'm going to get off now. I want to thank you all very much. Lynn's going to say goodbye. Yeah, say goodbye to the nice people. And thank you for joining us. Here we are, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. When is it?
I think it's the 1st of November. It's the 1st.
Yeah, 1st of whatever. We can't do it. The reason we're doing it a bit early this month because we're in the studio next week. All right. So, Lynn, how do you stop it? Is it that one? Stop streaming. Yeah. All right, so we'll do that. So we'll love you and leave you. And that one. Thank you very much for the donations to the channel. If you want to donate something, you can by clicking the little link at the bottom or just buying us a cup of tea. But more importantly, just circulate the stuff to all your mates because I want to try and catch up with my son. I've got 74,000. He's got 300. I've got a long way to go. So help me for God's sake. All right.